Good morning, everyone. Can someone tell me whether my voice is clear and is this screen clearly visible to all of you? Okay. So welcome to today's session, and today we'll be doing RBI circulars from 1st to 15th February. Okay, and not a lot of circulars are there and not a lot of master circulars are there as we've done in the previous case. So in the previous case scenario, we've done master circular with respect to, does anyone remember in the previous lecture what was the master circular all about? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How many of you remember what was the first master circular in the previous class? UCBs. And UCBs, what exactly about UCBs? We've talked about exposure and investment norms. For UCBs, isn't it? And what were the three major things that we discussed in that master circular? How many of you remember? We discussed restrictions or norms with respect to three major things. So first I'll tell you, it was with respect to individual or for a group. What were the other two? किसी को याद है? How many of you were active in that lecture? Yes, sectoral norms, in which we particularly talked about housing, real estate sector. And what was the last? The last was unsecured advances. Isn't it? Okay, so make sure you guys remember and revise these circulars a lot more frequently so that you do not forget these things. और structure format में इसको याद करने की कोशिश करोगे तो it will be much more easier to remember all those things. Okay, so let's start with today's circular or today's session. Okay, so the first thing that we will be discussing today is RBI has allowed participation of Indian banks on India International Bullion Exchange IFSC Limited. Okay, so this exchange was inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister in 2022. Okay, making it India's first international bullion exchange located in Gift City, and obviously this exchange is regulated by which authority? Can anyone tell? Just by the location of it, I hope all of you can tell. Yes, correct. IFSCA. Whereas normal stock exchanges, let's say in Mumbai, those are regulated by SEBI. ठीक है, तो ये basic difference याद करके रखना, otherwise don't confuse these things. Okay, so RBI has allowed various Indian banks to participate in this India International Bullion Exchange Limited. So you will be wondering to what purpose Indian banks will be participating in this exchange or any exchange for that matter. Okay, what is the main purpose exchange results? Okay, first of all, this is India International Bullion Exchange. What is bullion? Bars of gold and silver. That means at least you understand that this international India International Bullion Exchange allows various entities to buy and sell or even trade gold and silvers on a single platform connecting India and world. Isn't it? And like any exchange, there are some intermediaries in between. Okay, so there will be some, just like brokers are there, so there will be some trading member will be there that will, let's say put a buy or sell order on behalf of their client. Okay, so this is what you call trading member in this bullion exchange. Then there will be a clearing member. Okay, why clearing entities are essential in context of any exchange? चाहे आप इंडियन इंटरनेशनल बुलियन एक्सचेंज के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में ले लो या फिर यू टेक इट इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ नेशनल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज वेयर द क्लियरिंग thing is being done by Clearing Corporation of India Limited. What's the purpose of clearing? Member? Anyone? Yes, Saptadeep, correct. Settlement. Okay. It ensures that whatever trades that are happening on the exchange are properly settled between both the entities. Yes, correct. Okay. So I hope you understand what's the trading member, what's the clearing member, because these two are the different functionalities you will be able to require understanding when you will understand this circular. Now let's see the circular. So if you see the overview, RBI on review has decided to additionally allow branch subsidiary joint venture of an Indian bank in GIFT City to act as trading member or trading and clearing member of the Indian International Bullion Exchange. Okay? I hope now everybody understand what is the proposal by Reserve Bank of India. Any confusion in the first point? Chalo. Then another proposal by the Reserve Bank of India says that Indian banks authorized to import gold and silver to act as special category client of Indian International Bullion Exchange. So this is the second proposal. So first of all, understand this is the banks that are authorized by Reserve Bank of India to import gold and silver we are talking about. Okay? And they will be categorized as special category client of India International Bullion Exchange. Now what does that mean? Let's see what it is being talked about. As per the foreign trade policy, the Reserve Bank grants annual import authorization to bank for import of gold, silver. Okay, such bank in addition to consignment model in domestic tariff area are hereby allowed to operate as special category client on Indian International Bullion Exchange. ठीक है, अब इनका पर्पस क्या रहेगा? They will execute only buy trades on behalf of their clients. ठीक है? That means on the international exchange, because these are authorized to act as special category client, they can put buy order. ठीक है, बाय ऑर्डर करके गोल्ड मंगा सकते हैं अपने पास और यहां पे इंडिया इंटरनेशनल बुलियन एक्सचेंज के वॉल्ट में दे विल पुट इट ओवर देयर. ठीक है, बट अगेन स्पेशल कैटेगरी क्लाइंट, इफ दे आर द बैंक्स, दे आर ओनली अलाउड टू पुट बाय ऑर्डर. ठीक है, दिस इज अ स्पेशल और क्रिटिकल अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट यू नीड टू रिमेंबर, क्योंकि ऐसे ही क्वेश्चन बनते हैं जहां भी कोई एक्सेप्शन आपको दिख जाए, especially in the circulars. These are the things that you need to remember while hoping for such things to come in the examination, चाहे वो सेबी का एग्जाम हो, चाहे वो रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया का फेज 2 फाइनेंस का एग्जाम हो. ठीक है. Trading member, I've already told you, or trading and clearing member, they shall execute trade only on behalf of clients without proprietary trading. ठीक है. तो what does proprietary trading mean? Does anyone know? So proprietary trading is nothing but trading for yourself. Think about a bank which is acting as a trading member. So trading member regulation for them is that they only have to put trades on behalf of their clients. तो कोई qualified jeweler है, ठीक है? If that qualified jeweler has asked this trading member to put buy or sell order on the India International Bullion Exchange on its behalf, ठीक है? तो trading member खुद नहीं करेगा. So the thing which they are saying that they will not do trade on their own behalf, that means the bank is doing trading for themselves. ठीक है. अब जो कमाई होगी गोल्ड में वो अपने लिए होगी. That is what proprietary trading is, and this is not allowed by Reserve Bank of India, especially in context of trading and clearing member. अब इसमें clearing का is a different purpose, but it is associated with trading, तो उनके पास allowed है execute करना trades. But if you are a special category client, then you can put a buy order only on behalf of clients. ठीक है? Any confusion here to anyone? Next thing is the applicability. So this circular is applicable to all scheduled commercial banks other than regional rural bank. ठीक है? So apart from obviously what's the roles and responsibilities of trading and clearing member of India International Bullion Exchange, that the Reserve Bank of India specifically talked about the Indian banks or the entities that have been allowed to act as trading member, as trading clearing member. ठीक है. उसके अलावा they've also provided within this circular various risk management practices to be employed by entities that are there in India International Bullion Exchange. So what are these things? Let's read about them also. 2 points हैं, ठीक है, आपको easily समझ में आ जाएगा. So the first is all client trades placed on the exchange shall be against 110% advance pay in of the funds in case of the buy order, ठीक है, of the expected value of bullion and securities in the account of the bank in case of sell order. So what does this mean? ठीक है, think about a scenario in which the buyer has placed an order on the India International Bullion Exchange. मान लीजिए एक एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं so that we can better understand this. So this is the buyer. So buyer wants to import, let's say, 10 ग्राम कितना चल रहा है 60K अराउंड. सो 100 ग्राम 6 लाख. ठीक है. 1 kg गोल्ड विल बी अराउंड 60 lakhs. तो 1 kg का let's say they have put an order with respect to buy 1 kg order. Now think about सप्लायर ने बोला चलो ऑर्डर प्लेस हो गया तो हम लोग अपना सप्लाई कर देते हैं. ये सप्लाई इधर आ भी गई 1 kg सप्लाई. ठीक है. इट इज स्टोर्ड एट द वॉल्ट ऑफ इंडिया इंटरनेशनल बुलियन एक्सचेंज. बट जब सेटलमेंट की बात आई, बायर कह रहा है मेरे पास तो पैसा ही नहीं है, आई ओनली हैव 50 लाख रुपीज, 10 लाख मेरे पास जुगाड़ नहीं है, आप एक काम करो वापस भेज दो. तो व्हाट डू यू थिंक विल हैपन, और व्हाट डू यू थिंक इंडिया इंटरनेशनल बुलियन एक्सचेंज विल डू? यार क्या चीज़ है यार, कुछ तो ऐसा मैकेनिज्म रखना पड़ेगा जिससे ऐसे बेइज्जती ना हो कि इतना बड़ा एक्सचेंज खोल रखा है बट पैसे नहीं है लोगों के पास, ऐसे लोग तो हमने बिठा रखे हैं यहाँ पे, है ना? टू अवॉइड दीज काइंड ऑफ सिनेरियोज इन फ्यूचर, ठीक है, व्हाट द रिस्क मैनेजमेंट प्रैक्टिस हैज बीन प्रोवाइडेड टू देम। इन्होंने कहा, RBI says that even before you put any order, whether you put any buy order or whether you put any sell order on the exchange, ठीक है, you have to put 110% advance, ठीक है, with the trading member or with the bank with which you are doing trading, ठीक है, so that whenever the order is received on the exchange, आपके पास आपने ऑलरेडी एडवांस दे रखा है तो फिर पैसा ऑटोमेटिकली डिटेक्ट हो जाए, तो फिर वो बेइज्जती वाली बात नहीं होगी। सिमिलरली इन केस ऑफ सेल ऑर्डर, इवन बिफोर पुटिंग अ सेल ऑर्डर ओवर देयर, यू हैव टू पुट 110% ऑफ द अमाउंट ऑफ गोल्ड दैट यू नीड टू सेल बिफोर पुटिंग अ सेल ऑर्डर। दैट्स व्हाट द 110% advance pay-in is there. Why 110% is there? Why not 100%? Because you are not very sure with respect to what's the price will be whenever you will put the buy order. तो आप कहोगे कि हाँ इस प्राइस में let's say 5% का fluctuation होगा. So to cover that fluctuation, we put an extra 10%. That's it. That's the reason behind 110% of advance, not the 100% of advance. और फिर obviously, ठीक है, मान लीजिए प्राइस आपका 101% बचा तो 9% amount will be credited back to you, or 9% gold will be credited back to you. So that's what the mechanism is all about. Any confusion? I hope everybody understands this. So this is the first thing that Reserve Bank of India provides. The next thing is with reference to net open overnight position limit for a bank. The board may decide a global sub-limit for the net overnight open position in gold silver which shall not exceed 1 ton of gold equivalent. ठीक है, अब इसको ध्यान से पढ़ो. First of all, they're talking about setting a global sublimit on net open overnight position limit. So first of all, let's understand what's this net open overnight position limit is. So think about this entity or this trading member which is executing various buy and sell order in a single day. है ना, कोई भी ट्रेडर होता है वो एक दिन में बहुत सारे ट्रेड्स यूजुअली दे एग्जीक्यूट ओवर देयर ऑन द एक्सचेंज. सो सिमिलरली द ट्रेडिंग मेंबर ऑन द इंडिया इंटरनेशनल बुलियन एक्सचेंज विल आल्सो डू सम बाय ऑर्डर, सेल ऑर्डर. तो एट द एंड लेट्स से देव पुट बाय ऑर्डर ऑफ लेट्स से +10, सेल ऑर्डर -8, +2 and -5. So what is the net that you will be having at the end of the day? Anyone? Please calculate. ठीक है, तो बेसिकली -1 सेल ऑर्डर is your net position after the end of trading day. This is what you call net open overnight position. ठीक है, so let's say this is, or these are tons we are talking about. इन्होंने बाय 10 टन का ऑर्डर लगाया था, फिर 8 टन सेल कर दिया, 2 टन बाय किया, फिर 5 टन सेल कर दिया. एंड में इट केम आउट टू बी 1 टन sell order as the overnight open position. ठीक है, obligation है इनकी. So the Reserve Bank of India says, first of all, this net open position, the board, IFSC board must put, or the bank board must put a limit on this. कि मतलब after the end of the day आपके पास 1 टन से ज्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए, चाहे वो बाय में हो चाहे वो सेल में हो. It should be less than 1 ton of gold equivalent. And the main thing which Reserve Bank of India says to the board, आप एक काम करो, ग्लोबल सब लिमिट लगा लो नेट ओवरनाइट ओपन पोजीशन में. ठीक है, आपकी मर्जी है, जो लगाना लगाओ, बट द मैक्सिमम यू कैन डू इज 1 टन ऑफ गोल्ड इक्विवेलेंट. ठीक है, ऑब्वियसली यू कैन पुट, and the board is free to put it as 0.5 ton of gold equivalent, but it cannot cross 1 point more than 1. ठीक है, so this is what the net open overnight position limit is being talked about. ठीक है, and this is the responsibility of bank board to put a global sub limit on their behalf. ठीक है, because bank anyways has been allowed by the Reserve Bank of India to act as a trading member. So any confusion in this whole circular to anyone? Chalo, let's move on to the next circular. And the next circulars from now on, they are much more easier circulars and very much easy to remember circulars. So the Reserve Bank of India has reviewed the fixed remuneration grants of non-executive directors in the regulated entities, that is banks. ठीक है, तो on the bank board there are various non-executive directors that are not involved in the day-to-day operations of the company, but still their experience is very much essential. So in the same thought process that, you know, the non-executive director post within the banks attract people with huge experience, so they have increased the limit set for them in context of remuneration. पहले 20 लाख तक लिमिट थी, माने आप नॉन एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर को हायर करोगे तो उसको मैक्सिमम आप 20 लाख तक रुपए दे सकते हो एज एन एनुअल कॉम्पनसेशन. ओके, बट दैट लिमिट हैज बीन इंक्रीज्ड टू 30 lakh per annum. Okay, so any bank, whenever they are appointing non-executive director, the maximum amount of annual compensation that they can provide to that non-executive director is 30 lakh per annum. Okay, so this circular is all about. Okay, and you can check the source circular, that under which circular this amendment is being done. It is being done in the corporate governance in bank, appointment of directors and constitution of committees of the board. Okay, so the ceiling of 20 lakh per annum for non-executive directors has been increased to 30 lakh per annum. Okay, so apart from this change of ceiling, this is also important that this is applicable to all private sector banks, including small finance bank, payment bank, as well as wholly owned subsidiaries of foreign banks. Think public sector banks are not being discussed over here. ठीक है, तो ये चीज आप लोग याद रखना कि सीलिंग चेंज हो गई है, पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक्स नहीं है इसमें in terms of applicability. Next is RBI imposes monetary penalty on Bajaj Housing Finance Limited. 5 लाख की पेनल्टी है for non-compliance of certain provisions of NBFC Housing Finance Company Limited. आपको पता है कि इस तरीके की न्यूज phase 1 में has been continuously coming. If you remember the previous year question paper, उसमें भी I hope there was some banks the penalty upon which were being asked. Does anyone remember? I guess one HSBC था और एक और कोई बैंक था I guess. But nevertheless, at least the famous companies, you should be, always remain aware of how much the penalty was and for what the penalty has been applied. Similarly, RBI imposes penalty on PFC, Power Finance Corporation Limited, of 8.8 lakh rupees for various non-compliance on RBI's liquidity risk management framework for NBFCs. The next is launch of India's RuPay UPI connectivity with Mauritius and Sri Lanka. I hope all of you are at least aware of what was the news, and we've discussed this news in the previous current affairs session also, but there is some little bit of important point that we need to do over here, that in context of India and Mauritius, the two things were being agreed upon, that the launch of RuPay cards over there as well as UPI connectivity. Whereas in case of Sri Lanka, only UPI connectivity was agreed upon at this particular point of time. ठीक है, तो मेक श्योर यू रिमेंबर, मॉरिशस के साथ यूपीआई और रुपे कार्ड की डील हुई है, whereas साइमल्टेनियसली श्रीलंका के साथ ओनली यूपीआई कनेक्टिविटी की डील हुई है. मेक श्योर यू रिमेंबर दिस. And the benefits are listed over here so that you can utilize all these benefits whenever you are writing a descriptive answer. ठीक है, हम लोगों ने descriptive answers practice खूब किए in various descriptive sessions that we've had, and one of the most, and especially in finance, you can utilize these many objectives. But in case of ESI में देखो globalization में, if any question will come apart from obviously the static port, ठीक है, with respect to internationalization of UPI as well as internationalization of India's payment services, तो फिर उस केस में you will write these benefits. तो make sure you write a fodder point from over here. ठीक है, with this connectivity, Indian traveler to Mauritius will be able to pay merchant in Mauritius using UPI. This is the first benefit, and the same vice versa. Okay, and with the adoption of RuPay technology, the card scheme of Mauritius will enable banks in Mauritius to issue RuPay cards domestically. Next is Governor, Reserve Bank of India meets MD and CEOs of public and private sector banks. ठीक है, so all of you who already seen this document, आप लोग सोच रहे होगे कि anyways generic content है, what's there to read about. So the most important thing, especially when Reserve Bank of India talks with the entities that the Reserve Bank of India is regulating, so it usually is a congregation where you get to understand what are the critical issues that the RBI is focusing upon at the current point of time. ठीक है, तो फिर ये not only it benefits you in context of descriptive, or it also tells you which topic the examiner will be picking, because most of the news will be hovering around that only. ठीक है, and understanding of all these issues will help you in interview also, because you will have a clear understanding of what's the issue has been, what's the position of Reserve Bank of India and the regulated entities are. Okay, so within this context, these are the things that Reserve Bank of India discussed with respect to banks. So the first is business model viability, whether all the banks and their business model are really viable or not. Outlier growth in personal loans, a little bit concern for Reserve Bank of India. Adherence to co-lending guidelines, that the banks interbank lending is there. Then bank exposure to NBFC sector. So does anyone remember anything, any news related to bank exposure to NBFC sector? We've seen recently also. किसी को याद है? In context of banks loan to NBFC sector, has Reserve Bank of India said something in context of this? Anyone? How many of you remember that recently Reserve Bank of India actually asked banks to increase risk weight on loans provided to NBFCs. किसी को याद है ये न्यूज़? कल ही डिस्कस करे थे हम लोग. ठीक है. And because risk weight to NBFCs or bank loan to NBFCs have increased, what impact this will do on capital adequacy ratio of various banks? Can anyone tell? Because of increased risk weight to NBFCs, what will happen to the capital adequacy ratio of various banks? Yes, very good. Okay, they will have to increase their capital risk to weight asset ratio. Okay. So liquidity risk management, IT and cyber security preparedness, operational resilience, digital frauds, and strengthening of internal rating framework. So in context of IT and cyber security preparedness, also we read either in circular lecture or maybe in current affairs lecture. I remember that I have told you that there was Reserve Bank of India, yes, in circular lecture was there, was talking to various regulated entities and asking, and they have reviewed the IT and cyber security framework over there, and RBI says that these things are not up to the mark in which the Reserve Bank of India wants. Okay, so with respect to all these things, if you get to see a news that is there in the recent time period, make sure you take a note of that. Next is terms of reference signed between Reserve Bank of India and Nepal Rashtra Bank on integration of UPI with Nepal's national payment interface for cross-border remittances. So this is a similar type of agreement that happened with another country in India's extended neighborhood. Does anyone remember what's that country was? Where we did integration of UPI for cross-border remittances. Yes, Nitin, correct. Singapore, है ना? Obviously, we've done UPI connectivity with various countries, but in context of cross-border remittances, it was specifically mentioned for Singapore. है ना? Last thing, which is also we've discussed previously in current affairs session also, that I have talked with all of you, that there was this one card company, that was actually deploying another mechanism for payment between B2B transactions. Usually what happens when business one wants to do transaction with business two via credit card, okay, then this is facilitated by card companies like Visa, MasterCard, isn't it? But what was happening, that because some businesses were not ready to accept card payments, they could only accept NEFT as well as IMPS type of payments. This, I'm not just saying that this is the company, but think about it, because Reserve Bank of India didn't name the card company. Just think about it as a card company. What the card company did? Card company said, आपको चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप कार्ड से पेमेंट, इन्होंने कहा मैं कार्ड से करूंगा, तो कार्ड कंपनी ने कहा ठीक है आप मेरे को कार्ड से करो, मैं जुगाड़ करता हूं कि मैं इनको नेफ्ट के थ्रू प्रोवाइड कराऊं पैसा. आपको ऐसा भी नहीं कि आपको फिर डायरेक्टली बैंक के साथ डील करना है, बिकॉज इन दिस केस व्हाट हैपेंस इज, इफ वी डायरेक्टली डिड वाया नेट बैंकिंग, द कार्ड कंपनी लूजेस इट्स रेवेन्यू, इन बिटवीन कमीशन जितना भी रहता है ना. सो व्हाट कार्ड कंपनी सेज कि आप चिंता ना करें, मैं बना रहा हूं एक रूट, ठीक है, वेयर आई विल, यू जस्ट पे मी द मनी. लेट्स मेक इट मच मोर क्लियर. कार्ड कंपनी सेज डू वन थिंग, वाया कार्ड पे मी द मनी, ठीक है, वाया कार्ड this money will go to a separate third party bank account managed by this card company, ठीक है, and then via this third party bank account we will do NEFT transactions or IMPS transaction. RBI ने कहा ये तो खेला हो रहा है, ठीक है, मतलब हमको पता ही नहीं हो, आप लोगों ने एक नया पेमेंट सिस्टम और पेमेंट रूट इजाद कर लिया, ठीक है. आरबीआई ने बोला फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इवन दो दिस इज नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज्ड और देयर इज नो लीगल सैंक्शन और देयर इज नो लीगैलिटी बीइंग मेंशन्ड अबाउट दिस टाइप ऑफ रूट, इट डजंट मीन दिस इज नॉट अ पेमेंट विच कैन कम अंडर पेमेंट एंड सेटलमेंट सिस्टम एक्ट. तो उन्होंने कहा ये पेमेंट तो है, इवन दो वी हैवंट मेंशन्ड अबाउट इट एंड वी हैवंट रेगुलेटेड इट, बट इट इज अ पेमेंट और हम आपको डायरेक्शन दे रहे हैं, आप इस चीज को बंद करिए. सो दिस इज व्हाट द सर्कुलर इज ऑल अबाउट, ठीक है. अंडर दिस अरेंजमेंट व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग, द इंटरमीडियरी व्हिच इज द कार्ड कंपनी एक्सेप्ट कार्ड पेमेंट फ्रॉम कॉर्पोरेट्स फॉर देयर कमर्शियल पेमेंट्स एंड देन रेमिट्स द फंड वाया IMPS टू द नॉन कार्ड एक्सेप्टिंग रेसिपिएंट्स, ठीक है. So what the Reserve Bank of India says, on closer look of this arrangement qualified as a payment system. The activity, even though it was without legal sanction, okay, no permission has been obtained in this case. So this has been prohibited for doing so. और prohibition का there are various reasons also because now the card company is taking funds and utilizing it for whatever purposes nobody knows, ठीक है, because there is no legal sanction. तो कोई proper mechanism भी नहीं है उस पेमेंट को ट्रैक करने का या फिर what is happening with that payment that the card company is receiving by the business. और फिर वो फंड कौन सी थर्ड पार्टी को दे रहे हैं और वो कब कितना पैसा दे रहे हैं, क्या कमीशन काट रहे हैं, किसी को नहीं पता. Okay, to protect the interests of not only the country but also the businesses, Reserve Bank of India has took this decision. And it was said that only one card network has operationalized it. So that card network has been advised to keep all such arrangement under stop till the further orders. Okay? So this is what the session is all about. Okay? If you have any confusion, feel free to ask me. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, we'll wind up this session. Yes, I that PDF has been updated in the course. Yes, Nathan, please do tell. But all of you, please make sure, because these circulars are a little bit comprehensive and a little bit tricky, so these things need a lot more revision on your part. Okay, make sure you understand everything. Even if you don't understand, feel free to ask me all those things, but make sure you revise these things because this will help you in phase 1 as well as in phase 2. Yes, Rishikesh, you can do so. ठीक है, आप अपने sources को limit करके रखिए and make sure you do revise it. ठीक है, and just check how to, and recently only Ashok sir has released this video regarding how to do RBI preparation. Okay, so you can take a look over there on the channel. Okay, Nathan, I'll see what I can do about it. Any other question? Next circular class, I'll upload the circular, okay, and when the circular will be uploaded, फिर class का भी देख लेंगे. Yes, Aditi. If you're focusing on current affairs with respect to any banking examination or even for Reserve Bank of India, these current affairs classes along with PIB and these circular classes are more than sufficient for current affairs preparation of banking exams as well as regulatory body examinations. Saptadi, that's a different arrangement which is specifically, having a provision in India, UAE, SEPA. But make sure you remember the number of days which was there. How many number of days were there? Yes, बहुत बढ़िया. 11 days. Chalo, thank you guys for joining. We'll meet in the next session. Until then, abhi sham ko we'll do current affairs at 3:30 of 3rd and 4th March. Okay, and let's meet in the ESI class. Okay, so thank you for joining.